do another run at it. So welcome everyone to my channel. I'm happy to be hosting you. My name is Andrew Mutua. And as you know, we review and react to the Kibe Twitter Spaces, which he holds every morning from 6 through to God knows when. Sometimes they drag on for 4, 5, 6 hours, depending on how hot the topic is. And to help me do this, I'm joined by a good friend of mine, Brian Ingudi Juma. He's a chemical and process engineer who has had a vast experience, having worked with some of the big names in the fast-moving and consumer goods sector. And with that, I want to welcome Brian. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Andrew. Thank you. Let's get on it.
Let's get to it. So on Monday we kicked off the show, and I think the topic then was marriage. And some of these topics, as I've said before, keeps recurring, but there's always a different twist to it every time we discuss some of these recurring topics. And for Monday we discussed about marriage.
Yeah.
And we were asking things like, what does a good marriage look like? We're also asking ourselves, is it possible for one to be red-pilled and still be married?
Yeah, that one of red pill and marriage,
yes.
That's where things got heated up. It was quite a bit of a slugfest, but
yes.
The thing is this, red pill is based on enlightenment.
Mm-hmm.
So you are enlightened in some ways, but you are enlightened on what? You see, enlightenment is not an issue. What are you enlightened on, and how are you reacting to the enlightenment? A quick Google search will tell you that I think by 2021, the divorce rate in Kenya was, I think, 40%. That's the first item on the Google search. You are scoring divorce rate at 40%. So if you are outside the institution of marriage and you become aware of such kind of information, common sense will dictate that, man, I would rather think 10 times before getting. It's like they tell you that there's this plane that's about to take off. It's a very beautiful jet inside. You have very cute hostesses and they serve champagne and caviar, but there's a chance 40% is going to tumble out of the sky and crash into the sea. You're not going to board that aeroplane. So no. The red pill aspect is that you are now enlightened on the issue of the divorce rate. You are enlightened on the issue of the failure probability, and you take a decision and say, hey, I'm not taking this plane. I'm not boarding, as a good friend Miguna would say, I'm not boarding. Now, you cannot say, let's say you are in the institution already. You are in that aeroplane that is bound to fail at a probability of 40%. Even if you are enlightened, you are what we call a potential statistic. You are a potential statistic of failure. Like if you are in an aeroplane that has a 40% chance of crashing, you are a potential casualty. So you can't be red pill. That enlightenment is not going to assist you in any way. Because we used to imagine that somebody would say divorce, yes, divorce, you separate. But there are issues that men go through, especially the financial denting that men go through after divorce, blowing out huge chunks of money to people who don't stay with. Kids you see only maybe once a month or once every 2 months, and you are blowing very huge chunks of money. That's a very huge loss to the man when it comes to divorce. So you cannot be red pill when you are inside. You can't say you are enlightened to the danger of this aeroplane and you are in the air already. You are nothing more than a potential casualty. If it's a plane, you are a potential casualty. If it's marriage, you are a potential, I don't know what to call you, dentee, because you're going to get dented thoroughly. So red pill and marriage, that's no, zero. Not happening. Forget it.
It's actually quite an interesting topic because I know Kibe really raises it every time. Is marriage possible in the year 2020? As you've just outlined, the failure rate is very high.
Yes.
And in other geographies, if you talk of the Western world, Europe across to Americas, and even in other parts of the world, that failure rate is high.
Because if you say, yes, you want to work, you want to make it work, you want to dedicate yourself, it's okay. It's okay to lay out these plans some way. It's okay to say you are going to board this aeroplane. You are given, let's say, you've done all the security checks, they've done all the background checks, whatnot. You don't have any hazardous material that may endanger your safety in the plane. But all that compared to the fact that the plane has a 40% chance of failure. That's the headache. No matter how well you prepare, there's a 40%. Okay, can you go into a business that has a 40% chance of failure? If, let's say, we are going to take a loan to buy a vehicle, then they tell you this is a transport vehicle, they tell you beforehand or from data, there's a 40% chance this vehicle will fail, or they give you financing for 10 trucks. Then 40% of that fleet is going to be destroyed by the end of the year. Are you going to take that business? Are you going to embark on that business venture?
No.
Even if you do all, let's say you've done all the diligence, because these people who, I call these men who are casualties of divorce, they are not crazy people. Some of them are the sanest individuals in the world. When you look at somebody like Jeff Bezos, you don't become a billionaire by being a weak charactered individual. You must be strongly founded in your way. Somebody like the long-standing billionaire like Bill Gates, who has been sitting very pretty on the financial hierarchy for quite a while. You don't become that by being somebody who's indisciplined. And if people with such high levels of diligence have stumbled, what about mere mortals like me and you? That's the question.
Yeah.
Like, let me put it like this. This is an aeroplane. You want to board it.
Yes.
You are going to, number one, you are carrying substances which are not going to cause any danger in the aeroplane.
Yes.
You fasten your seatbelts properly. You've ensured that the captains, but somehow you know the captains are very competent. The plane is well serviced, but there's the looming aspect of a 40% crash.
Yeah.
Will you board it?
No.
Let's say it's I don't want to mention names. Maybe out of etiquette, I should not mention brands. Maybe an executive from the manufacturer comes with a very big dossier of safety, but they tell you, Andrew, this is a wonderful plane. It has ABCD safety features are fantastic, but we normally have a figure of 40% crash rate.
Yeah. Definitely, the failure rate is very high. But what I'm trying to think of is, and we're just talking of divorces here. There are people who are still in marriage publicly.
Yeah.
But when they go behind their homes, they're probably sleeping in separate beds. So they're just keeping appearances, in essence.
Rumble in the jungle.
Yes. Because actually, there's somebody who did some statistics, and he was showing, of course, the divorce rates. And I think he was using the US as an example, and I think for the US is about a little over 50%. But then he went further and broke that down. Over and above this, that eventually go down the route of separating and divorcing, there are those that are seen publicly as marriage, but in all intents and purposes, they are actually not married people. They live sort of separate lives, but they'll still maintain their appearances. They will still, when they go for either public forums or whatever, they'll go as still man and wife. But in their home, they are nothing like that. Even some with kids. I do know of a good friend of mine who, from what he showed me, his marriage is totally broken, but he still lives together with a wife. So there's all that. and they were actually, from those statistics, he was able to estimate the sort of the only good running marriages are as high as 13%.
So
it goes much lower. So you might say we have 60% marriages that are working, but if you look at those 60% marriages that are said to be working, you find the situation is very different. If you probe it further to see, are these people happily living together? Are they essentially separated and only coming to maintain their appearances? But they are not. So
basically, it's like 40% is official divorce. Then we have like 30%.
Yes.
Is on the outside is Cinderella.
Yes.
On the inside is like Mike Tyson versus Lennox Lewis, something of the sort.
Yes.